Ball.com. Now it is that time of the week on a Friday where we get our panel of experts into studio and we discuss all things football. You can see what all those things football are up here along my right hand side, left hand side. Robbie Brady's injury, a tough blow for Robbie Brady. We're going to get into that in a second. The big derbies over the weekend as well. We're going to discuss all of those. Pogba, and we're going to get the lads' Champions League picks. It is the slot. We've yet to find a name for it, but it does involve this chicken. We'll explain all that in a second. But before all of that, myself and Eoin want to welcome our two special guests every Friday to the studio. It's the first time we've had a very full house. Nathan Murphy, welcome.
Good to be here.
Kevin Kilbane, welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
You're both looking very sprightly and fresh for a Friday morning.
No, I feel great, honestly, I always do.
It is the first time we've had everybody in studio. Owen's been away in his jollies and we've just been discussing there while John was on about the plans for the Christmas.
Can we have a chat around the trip to Hamburg rather than chat around the topic?
Go for it.
Might as well go for day 3 here.
Was it?
Of Off the Ball AM.
Oh, is it? Yeah, the chat about
You know that we're all entering middle-aged man territory except for Owen, because the excitement we get from one of us going away and going on the lash for a week.
Living vicariously through Owen.
Yeah. Well, you know, I did everybody proud. Let's just put it that way.
Good.
Right, so this is the slot that we don't have a name for. Somebody texted in last week and said it should be called Foul Chicken, which I kind of like. Poxy Chicken is where I was at. This is a slot where we have our 5 topics that we've just told the audience what they are, and then after, you are both going to get 2 minutes to talk about that topic, and when the 2 minutes is done, the chicken shall speak. You'll both shall shut up, which in itself is an achievement, and we move on to the next topic. Are the rules clear, everybody?
Yes, clear.
Right for the chicken
Clear.
to arrive.
We're going to kick off 2 minutes to a bit of a sombre note to begin with. Robbie Brady's got some tendon damage. It seems like Kev, he's going to be out for a substantial period. It's tough time, like nominated for Player of the Month.
Yeah, it is. I think he's played all 15 games this season as well. He has been in great form. You just need to see some of the assists he's been getting over the last few weeks and the goals he's been scoring. He has had a great season. Maybe from last season when he first went in there to Burnley, took a little bit of a while to adjust. He was just really starting to find his feet. I mean, as blunt as it sounds, that's football. That's the way that it is. You can't get away from that. You're one training session, one game away from a serious injury. That's just the way that it is. We all have got to accept it. The
fact that he doesn't have a World Cup upcoming, I'm sure, would have immediately impacted on his thinking.
Yes, of course, that's it. And you always think then, I'm sure if we'd have qualified, it would have been right. That is the target. That's where I'm going to be going to. Probably trying to speed up his recovery, trying to maybe cut corners. I've seen it being done before with lads at clubs that I've been at when they've been going to major tournaments.
Anything to get yourself back.
Exactly, and it doesn't necessarily. Well, it rarely ever works out, does it? We've seen it with various players. So I think that's the luxury that he does have, and maybe one thing that's in his advantage, that he can actually just focus on getting the rehab done right, and that'll be done right with Burnley. The
big thing is that he'd been flying, as we've been saying, at his club. He turns 26 next month. We know the trajectory of his career up to this point, but the way he'd been playing, you could have expected quite easily that if he continued that form to the end of the season, he could have been looking at a move up.
Yeah, thankfully these are no longer career-ending injuries, but it feels much like Seamus Coleman's. It's definitely a career-changing injury, in that Seamus Coleman last summer may well have been the time when he got his move. Now we still have no sign of Seamus actually coming back. Would a team even take a risk on Seamus next summer? Possibly not, if he hasn't played enough football. And again, you look at Robbie Brady, the same. He's definitely not going to get a move next summer. He's probably looking 2 years down the line. He's at a totally different stage of his career, and it was the best he's ever played. The confidence he showed in the last few weeks.
That's what happens on the chicken speaks.
No, that's a great point on
I'm just thinking
that. That's a good point.
I'm just thinking that was at least 2 minutes, and I had probably 30 seconds.
First time.
Fine.
Yeah. You said first time you made a good point. That go under the radar. But
there's not even time to challenge that assertion that Robbie Brady would have got to move to a bigger club.
No, it's not that he would have.
I mean,
same as Seamus Coleman. It removes the possibility that if he kept going, this was comfortably the best he's ever played at Premier League level. The little flicks, the confidence in himself, he seemed to change. But
I definitely think you could have expected that he would have got to move to a bigger. If he continued, nominated for Player of the Month in the company.
What position are Burnley in the Premier League?
5th, 6th.
Yeah, they're not going to end up there. I mean, they're not a top 5 club.
No, but
they're not a top club.
It's highly perceivable that they're going to finish 7th or 8th.
Yeah, but it's like N'Golo Kante, isn't
right,
it?
the chicken
Kante won the Premier League.
Wages on.
Yeah, wages.
The chicken is not happy. So. Paul Pogba is our next topic that we want to get into. I'll set the 2 minutes going there. And Graham Souness and John Giles, particularly over the last while, have been very critical of Paul Pogba. All style and no substance is the short story here. That the comparison was made that he's the Cantona, Pogba's the Cantona to Keane's Matic almost.
Well, he was actually quite poor midweek against CSK Moscow.
He's trying to circulate that thought and is trying to figure out what. Go on, sorry,
Yeah. can I finish my point?
No, go for it, absolutely.
No, it's fine, yeah. It's okay.
30 seconds in, so...
Yeah, there you go.
No,
he was quite poor. He was almost watching like the Pogba of last season midweek. Would that have been because Matic wasn't alongside him? I don't know. I just think it was perhaps one of those nights for him. He was excellent last week. I was at the Emirates last week, and when he was superb. And I don't necessarily go along with that theory of John Giles and Graham Souness that he's maybe a player that the game passes him by. He doesn't do enough in games. I think he started to have more of an influence there at Man United. I think he's starting to take the game. I think he started to have an influence, certainly from a creative point of view. He might not necessarily always be the assist, but if you look at someone like Kevin De Bruyne at Man City, he invariably would have the key pass within a move that would lead to the assist. So I think he's having more of an influence, and I've been impressed with him this season. So I think he's having a good season, yeah.
The only criticism you can have, I think, is in his goal scoring. He's never reached double figures yet during a league campaign. Souness touched on that last night. If he does get to double figures, maybe he then needs to take a step back and realise he's a different type of player. Like, the comparison of Keane and Cantona isn't relevant, because firstly, Keane is 3 times the player in Nemanja Matic, and Pogba and Cantona don't play in anywhere similar position. I think we're talking 2 old school pundits, men of a certain vintage who like to play the game a certain way, and they look at Pogba and see him as being the embodiment of everything that's wrong with current.
Yeah, there's an element of that. But I do think as well that when you listen to John and when you listen to Graham, when the way that they analyse games, I think there is certainly most definitely a place for how they go about their analysis. I really do think that. But Pogba is that.
Too short.
He's that social media footballer, isn't he? He's that soundbite.
He's the most marketable player in the Premier League by a country mile.
Like they've spoken about the showboating and that not celebrating goals with their teammates.
I take that. Sometimes it can be a bit too much, but
that's the modern player for you.
But you couldn't do that back in the 70s and 80s, because you could nail them.
Yeah.
If somebody was showboating, you could nail them. Now you can't.
Well, I don't think you could have got stripes through your hair, Eoin, but sorry.
But also in the 1970s, you didn't have these stupid average position maps. It's like, Pogba was playing very further in front of the halfway line, therefore he can't dare play as a midfield too. What if he's brilliant without the ball in that position, 10 yards in front of the halfway line? That's the one thing that really gets to me. Just stop at your average positions.
The Robbie Brady point wasn't valid, but that's valid.
That was pretty good. Okay, right, we'll set the next 2 minutes, and the talking point here is the Manchester derby. So I guess the point being whether we use the Chelsea game as a guide to how United are going to play, and I mean we're assuming that it's going to be pretty tight from United's point of view. This
Pogba been out, I think, removes any doubt that there's anything but Mourinho parking the bus, that the Arsenal game last week will be an exception, because they just don't have the player to fill that role, somebody who can transition the ball forward quickly 20, 30, 40 yards. If he goes with Herrera and Matic, I think they're just going to sit back. And also you look at the teams that City have played over the last couple of weeks and the teams they've struggled to break down, they're all just sitting back. Like Huddersfield didn't even really play with a striker, and they're struggling to break those teams down at the moment. United are better defensively than all those sides, so I'm thinking this is, you sit, you keep it tight, and just try and steal
get out of dodge somewhere. With a 0-0.
It's the only sensible thing to do.
No, not necessarily. I don't necessarily see that. I think United, the way that they played last week, showed to me that they can be devastating on the counter attack. They can sit in and soak up a little bit of pressure, yet still have the element of the attacking side within the ranks. But I don't think he'll play both Martial and Rashford. I think Lingard probably will play for his energy that he'll probably bring to the side. Given that he left Lingard and Ashley Young out midweek, I think they'll both start. So I'm looking at this weekend. It wouldn't surprise me if he brought in Fellaini and he went, I tell you what, let's be physical against them, man for man. If Silva's fit, man for man against Silva and De Bruyne. Let's try and stop them. Let's try and get in the faces. Herrera could do that job. I'm not so sure Fellaini could do that job. I don't think he's got the energy to live with one of those two players.
The one concern I'd have is that Mourinho after the Chelsea game was talking about, so they concede that goal after whatever it was, 55 minutes, and Mourinho's talking about how they were emotionally gone after that goal. Like, I find that bizarre against a team that's like it's one of the top 4 teams.
Do you not think that's just like a soundbite? It's just something that just comes out.
But he's saying to his players, you had checked out. Once Morata went, you lost your heads. He's saying that to his players. Surely that's actually part of his job, is to make sure they don't lose their heads.
Yeah, but it depends. What influence can he have from the touchline on that when a goal goes in the second half? That's maybe your point within that.
Yeah, I don't know. Thank God the 2 minutes were up on that one. Right. Right, on to the other derby for the weekend. Both of these games live on Off the Ball on News Talk. By the way, you're at the Merseyside derby, all right? You keep your passions.
At the Manchester.
Try and keep your passions in check there.
I always do. Fair.
Right, free scoring Liverpool against Everton, who've 6 points in their last 2 games, Kev. The impartial voice here in this.
Yeah, 6 goals in the last 2 games.
Some quality players have played in these fixtures over the years, and then there's you.
Was that just before he nailed you?
Thanks for that.
That was he just before he got sent off.
I think that was at Goodison. I think we won that game actually.
Right.
But it's not something I want to. It's not something I want to talk about.
Was that the angriest you've ever been?
Angriest I've ever been in a game? Oh no, I've been
certainly the angriest you've ever looked.
I've been angry. What I used to do in games, or before I'd start, I'd always used to say, if I was particularly playing a game like that, usually David Weir or Alan Stubbs would have been playing right side centre half, and I used to say, just hang it up 10-15 yards inside me, and then I can just
nail him.
Put the elbow in, is that?
Well, not the elbow, just give him a little.
Who are you going for? Stevie Finnan?
Would have been Finney, might have been
Jan Kroenkamp.
Carragher would have played there as well. One of the big ones, yeah. So we would have had some, yeah.
You versus Carragher,
great battles.
You're saying you'd have come out on top of that?
I'd like to think so.
Right.
Physically, yeah.
13 goals in their last 3 games for Liverpool's front 4, 22 in the last 7. I think Everton are going to sit as deep as possible. Big Sam will have learned plenty of lessons from the nightmare under Ronald Koeman and how bad they are defensively.
Yeah.
They'll just sit as deep as possible.
Yeah.
Like I'd say they would take.
Well, Koeman last season went there with such a young side. I could not believe the side that he put out in that Merseyside derby, because Everton were flying at the time. I think there was a way that Everton could have got at them, and he played such a young team. Sam Allardyce will not make that same mistake. I think he'll go there with as much experience as possible.
The worst thing they could do is get into some sort of an emotional, proper Merseyside derby brawl, because that will play into this Liverpool side's hands.
I don't know.
I think 100%, because once mistakes start,
Kev thinks float her up there, put the elbow in.
Well, I think there'll be an element of that.
This isn't a tough Everton side.
I disagree with that.
One last point, take this or leave this, you'll probably disagree with us, but Liverpool have the greatest disparity in attacking quality and defensive quality of any big team this century.
Is that a true fact, or
no?
Is
it's a take. It's what I
think. It's a hot take.
Oh, right.
It's Sheahan's hot take.
Jeez.
Would there not have been?
I'm looking for something to back this up.
Yeah, I mean, because what you're suggesting is their defence is the worst.
Well, I said top 6 team. I meant Premier League, not top 6 European team.
Okay.
One thing I would say as well, why I'm worried really from Everton's point of view, I don't see Everton being able to sit in and break against that Liverpool side. There's not enough pace in Everton's team to do it. So that's the one thing where I think if you can get at Liverpool, if you can soak it up, you can stay nice and narrow, which they will do. But where is the attacking option going to come from? It's going to have to be from a set play.
Liverpool and City?
I'm going to go for a draw, Anfield. And I'm going to go for Man United.
City. Right.
Yeah.
Liverpool and City.
Tipping Manchester United was probably the worst take of this segment. Manchester City and Liverpool.
Right, the final 2 minutes we're going to do, it's just a bit of a wrap on the Champions League to get your picks of who you think is going to make the final, who's going to win the thing. So it's 5 Premier League teams into the last 16. We don't know, Spain final in 2016.
Yeah.
Are we headed that way for Premier League?
Yeah.
Do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think, again, the conversation on TV3 I thought on Tuesday night was good in that we're looking at Real Madrid now. Real Madrid could be a very different team.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
February, March.
They know how
we're
to do
assessing
it.
them on the struggles they're having at the moment. I still look at all 5 of the English teams and think any of them could reach the final. Any of those 5.
I just look at the draw for the next round. Man United, they could get Bayern Munich, Juve, Sevilla or Real Madrid. Essentially, they're going to be tough draws. They're looking for Shakhtar or Porto. Chelsea themselves are going to get PSG, Barcelona or Besiktas. Realistically, if they get Barca or PSG, probably going to go out, aren't they? That's what you would imagine. So Liverpool, Bayern Munich, they could get Juve, Real Madrid themselves. City, Bayern Munich, Juve or Real Madrid. So the law of average, they're going to get a massive draw, and Tottenham the same as well. They're going to get a big draw in the next round. They could be gone. We could have 3 of those Premier League sides gone in the last.
The only thing about Spurs is obviously that, you know, like it's whatever it is, 3 Premier League teams in the last 17 years that have actually won the Champions League. But Spurs have obviously comfortably won that group. That's one of the great group performances of all time.
It is
the greatest English, like statistically, the greatest English performance points wise in the Champions League era, isn't it?
Is that right? Is that
16 points?
All 4 teams. There have been situations before where 4 teams entered the Champions League group stages.
No, I mean Spurs individually. 16 points is the best points tally by an English.
I'm sure some English clubs have won every game
in the Champions League era.
I'm sure they have.
I think Arsenal came second. I heard it on a national broadcaster last night.
Did you? Well, you might be. You're probably right.
Where did you hear it?
I heard it on RTE last night.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean,
Yeah. But no, regardless of it, yeah, he's right. Tottenham, I think in beating Real Madrid, but Nathan's made actually 2 really good points today.
Oof.
That's the first.
Fittingly enough, the chicken.
Real Madrid will not be the same Real Madrid come February.
That's the best take in this segment.
Yeah.
And City potentially winning the Champions League, pulling up, I think will be to their advantage as well. That actually they
I think they've got a chance. I really do. Yeah. I think Chelsea. I think any one of those. If you get a decent draw, then they've got a great chance, haven't they?
Right, the 2 derbies are live on Off the Ball on News Talk this weekend. It's Liverpool against Everton at Anfield, 2:15 on Sunday. Nathan is going to be there alongside Pat Nevin, Everton legend, and then at 4:30 it's the Manchester derby. It's United against City, and our B team are going to be at that. Dave McIntyre alongside Kevin Kilbane, and then on Premier League Live on Saturday afternoon on Today FM, it's Tottenham up against Stoke. That's at 3 o'clock. It's at Wembley, and it's Ian Beach and Brian Kerr. So that's what's coming your way upcoming this weekend. Lads, thanks a million for joining us in studio. The hot chicken or whatever else we want to call it is going to come and speak your way again next Friday morning.